All right, guys, we need to talk. One of our stocks is up over 28% in the past 5 trading days. It's not Micron and it's not AMD. So what is it? It's definitely not a Core Holdings. It's a Core Holdings and it's blowing past all-time highs. We're almost at $90 per share. That's crazy considering where we came from. I was buying this stock back when it was $47 a share when I started the portfolio. And mind you, I was buying shares literally in April. So April, May, June, it's been like 2.5 months. That's it. And we've almost already doubled our money on this position. Really good stuff. If we can get a Core Holdings to cross over that 100% gain, we are now going to have 3 double your money situations happening in our portfolio. And I think we're getting close on Micron to having a triple up situation on that one. So that's incredible. So again, this has been an incredible run for Core Holdings. I think there's a lot more to come. This stock has incredible momentum behind it. It has been a rocket ship for the past year. Now, with that being said, I have 3 core subjects I want to cover in today's video. So for number 1, I want to talk about how to know when it's the perfect time to buy a stock and how to time the entry perfectly when you get into a stock. And then for number 2, I'm going to be revealing the 3 stocks that I just bought for the politician portfolio. And for number 3, me and Landen are actually going to hop in a call and show you how we use Altoneer.com to find the most purchased stocks by members of Congress. So I think that's going to be pretty useful for you guys to learn about. And before we jump in it today, please just give this like button a good old smashing, okay? Smash that like button. All right, let's jump in. Okay, so let's answer this age-old question. How do you know when it's the perfect time to buy into a stock? All right, so cool little story here about me. So a few times a year, I have this like recurring daydream where I basically have the ability to go back in time, you know, like have a time machine. And the obvious first thought that comes to my mind is, what if I just went back in time far enough to like 30x my money in the stock market within like 1 year? Now, I have this daydream so much that I know exactly what I would have to do if I could go back at least a year. I would know exactly what stocks to get into, what probably options contracts I would need to buy to essentially 30x my money within a year. That's the fantasy, okay? That's the fantasy world. That's La La Land. It's probably not going to happen. There's no time machine. So unfortunately, none of us can go back in time to make that stuff happen. So what can we do? I think that there are 2 things that can increase the odds of buying stocks at the right moments. So the first thing is just buy the same stocks that politicians buy, because first of all, they're really good at trading. And second of all, they know a lot more than probably you know. And you might be, it's possible you could be smarter than a politician, of course, but they have access to information that we don't and that you will never have access to. They know stuff. And that's probably why they are good at trading. Number 2, narrow that down even more and only buy the stocks that the best performing politicians are buying. So here's a list of the top performing politicians from 2024, for instance, and you can see on here all of the top performing politicians. I mean, who gets 149% return in a single year? David Rouser does, and we can follow his trades. Like it's as simple as that. Just pick the ones that are the best. Now, I want to pose a question here. So this might be something you're asking yourself right now. Like, hey, I'm just now starting my portfolio from scratch. The top politicians are already up hundreds of percentage points on some of their stocks. What do I do? So here's my thinking process on this. If the politician still owns the stock, do you think they're just holding the stock for no reason? No. They still think it's going up and they still think it's going to outperform other stocks in the stock market. Why would they be holding it otherwise? So what do? Do you wait to start your portfolio? Do you wait for the stocks to go down in the short term? Or do you just say, F it, and you just buy all the same stocks that they own right now? It doesn't matter what price it's at. What do you do? It's the second option. To show you a real life example here, back in April, I decided to start a $10,000 account tracking politician stock trades. Okay, and some of the stocks inside that portfolio were stocks that Debbie Wasserman Schultz owns. And most of the stocks that she owns were already up a lot since she got into the stock previously. And a Core Holdings was actually one of those stocks. So if we go to when she purchased to the time that I would have actually ended up jumping in, let's see here. So I got in April, I think around April 6th. She would have already been up 247% on a core holdings when I got in. Okay, so I wasn't phased at all that she had already tripled her money on this stock. I'm getting in. She still holds it. She still thinks it's going to go up. And you want to know what happened next? If we go from when I got in, it's up 83%. I've almost doubled my money on it now. So I'll just say this. Whatever. Debbie hasn't sold yet. I'm not selling. I'm buying. Hecla Mining here was another stock that I bought. So let's go to when I would have been jumping in. So it looks like at the time I jumped in, she was already up to almost 280% on it. I don't care. Let's see how it's performing since I got in. I'm down 12%. Whoop-de-woo. It's not a big deal. I do not care about what's happening in the short term at all. Okay. I want to own the same stocks that she owns. Think about this no different than investing in the S&P 500, the top 500 companies. I want to invest in the stocks that Debbie Wasserman Schultz. This is the Debbie Wasserman 3. This is the Debbie Wasserman 50. I don't care if she's up on them. When you buy the S&P 500, remember, you're buying stocks that are already up 10,000+% since they IPO'd. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just getting into her positions. I want to perform like she does at the end of the day. And she still holds these stocks. So I have no choice but to own the same stocks that she owns, regardless of how much they're up. All right. Stratasys is another one. So she bought it right here. Let's go to when I would have been jumping in. Okay. She was down 14% by the time I actually bought it. And look at that. I'm up 10%. All right. That's a reasonable gain. Thank you. And again, she hasn't sold the stock yet, which means I'm a buyer of this stock and I am a holder of this stock. And I'm going to continue to be that way until she sells it. I wanted to show you all of this just to say this. I'm already up big on one of the trades. The other ones aren't doing so much. One I'm down on, the other one I'm up 10%. So you're starting to see now that it doesn't really matter that much, the entry, okay? You just got to get into the market. If I had waited to get into the stocks, waiting for some correction in the market or something, which didn't come, by the way, then I would have missed the near double up opportunity with the core holdings already. That would have already passed me by. Same for AMD and Micron, which I've almost tripled my money on Micron at this point in the politician portfolio. I would have missed that too. I'm still sitting here waiting for the market to correct. That could be a year from now. And then these stocks have went up 3x or 4x by then. Like it's not worth waiting. You just got to get in. And you know what happens? The stock market continues to make all-time highs. If you just zoom out the S&P 500 in the NASDAQ the last 30 years, what do you see? It just continues to hit all-time high after all-time high. Yeah, there's little micro dips in there, but they don't last very long. So right now, we're trading at all-time highs right now. Guess what's going to happen? When you hit all-time highs, you hit another all-time high. Yes, there's going to be little corrections here and there, but it just continues to hit all-time highs. You just got to get in the market. If you're not in, then what are you doing? You're just sitting on the sidelines. So to sum things all up, it's not easy to time the market. By the time you feel it's the best time to get in the market, you've probably already missed out on several good opportunities in the stock market. That's just how it is. All right, so 3 stocks I just bought. So I'm going to be talking about these 3 stocks that I just purchased with some of the extra cash in the portfolio. And before I reveal the first position, I want to take a moment here and just talk about how you can get access to the politician stock trades on Altoneer.com. All you got to do is tap the first link in the description of this video, or just look up Altoneer.com on Google and it'll pop up. This is a really just hands down great tool. This is what I use every single day. And it's what allowed me to construct my portfolio in the first place, the politician portfolio, which is up around 20 to 25% just in the last 2.5 months. All right, so for the first stock I added to the portfolio, it was Hecla Mining, ticker HL. So I bought 1 share of this for a total of $17.04. So I want to take a second here and talk about why I'm adding this. So first of all, like you guys probably already know, Debbie Wasserman Schultz bought this stock. I want more exposure to her portfolio. Why do I want this? Okay, here is my thinking process here with this. So here are the top politicians that traded in 2024. Debbie Wasserman Schultz actually was number 2. She had 142% return in 2024. That's great. So some of you might actually be asking right now, why this is David Rouser here. Why didn't I choose to buy David Rouser's stocks? He had 149% return. The only reason why I didn't is because he had some like one-off really good trade. Like he literally bought one stock and it just went up a lot. It went up 149% that year. So he didn't necessarily have a portfolio that trades really well, but Debbie Schultz has a portfolio of stocks that performed really well. Consistency matters too, and that's why I chose Debbie Schultz for part of my portfolio. And then let's check out 2022. Mind you, this is a year where the market was down. I don't know exactly how much percent, but it was a down year. It was a rough year. Debbie Schultz pulls off a 50% gain. That's incredible. So obviously, after I had learned this stuff, I wanted to make sure that Debbie Wasserman Schultz stocks were made up a pretty good chunk of my portfolio. So the next stock that I purchased here is Stratasys, ticker SSYS. I went ahead and bought 2 shares of this one, which totaled out to be $18.60. Now, some of you guys actually might be wondering right now, like, why are these purchases so tiny? We're talking about like teens of dollars. Yeah, it's small. And I started with the $10,000 account and I deposit $100 every week into the account to buy new stocks. So that's how that works. So, you know, we don't have much money to work with here, but the goal is to turn this $10,000 into $100,000. And I just want to show you how fast and how quick you can do such a thing. I did it with my other account. I'm going to do it with this account. Only this time you guys are going to watch and see me every single week here on YouTube doing it. So looping back to Stratasys here, like previously mentioned, this is another Debbie stock and it's for all the same reasons that I purchased it. Debbie's really good. Yeah, that's all that really matters. She has a great track record. You know what I say? Debbie is the GOAT of politician stock trading. She's better than Nancy Pelosi. Like Nancy Pelosi gets all of the billboard attention. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, Nancy, you trade stocks so well. How do you do it? When actually in reality, if you really just dig into it, there are several politicians that are better than Pelosi at trading. Debbie Wasserman Schultz just happens to be one of those top politician traders. So I want a piece of that action. Sign me up. And then for the third and final stock that I added to the portfolio, it is Icor Holdings, ticker ICHR. I purchased this one at $89 a share. No, that's got to be a typo, right? I didn't purchase Icor Holdings. I'm up 87% on that already. So why would I purchase that one? Wait, that doesn't make sense. I don't care. Debbie Wasserman Schultz still owns the stock. I'm trying to teach you guys a lesson here in today's video that it literally does not matter. And also there's another thing in the market. There's a phrase called let your winners run. There's a reason why in some cases you don't actually sell stocks after they've run up a lot in stock price, because you want to know why? Because they're probably going to keep running up way beyond your expectations. And it happens time and time again. Look at NVIDIA, look at AMD, look at Micron, look at Icor Holdings. Like, you let your winners run. Now, there's 2 reasons I wanted to add Icor Holdings to the portfolio. Number 1, I'm adding Debbie Wasserman Schultz stocks to the portfolio. I'm trying to increase my overall holding. I need to be diversified. I need to buy all the stocks that I can buy. And right now I own 3 Debbie Wasserman Schultz stocks. So I'm going to invest into all 3. And number 2 reason, this stock is going on an insane rally. It's got momentum behind it. I want to keep owning it. I want to own more of it. I think it's going to keep going up. And thirdly, Debbie Wasserman Schultz hasn't sold yet. So what's in it for me to just not add more shares? You know, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, like I just said, is even better than Nancy Pelosi. I want to buy more of her portfolio. I want more of my money allocated into her stocks because she's better than Pelosi. She's better than mostly every politician that I have in the portfolio right now. I want more of it. All right. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Now, going back to the momentum here, like I just want to say that stocks are crazy sometimes, and it's really good to be on the good side of crazy. You can have crazy bad side and crazy good side. Crazy bad side, think of this. There's only a maximum of 100% loss. Do stocks really go down 100%? Usually, no, they'll crash like 30% or 40%. When you have crazy on the good side of stocks, you're talking your stock could go up 100%, 300%, 1,000%. I mean, the upside potential is way more than the downside potential. And here's a perfect example of this. This is my main account, my biggest position by far, my biggest gainer that I've ever had in my entire life of investing. I'm up 400% right now on AMD. which I bought a year ago, I'm up $107,000 in unrealized gains on AMD. Thank you, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's a representative. She was buying this stock a year ago. I got in. Yep. It can happen. This could be Micron in the politician portfolio, the $10,000 portfolio. This could be AMD again. I could be up 400% on AMD in the politician portfolio. Right now, we're up over 100%. It could happen. This could be a core holdings. This could really be not all of the stocks in the portfolio, but a lot of the more smaller cap stocks in the portfolio. This could actually happen. This could be reality for the politician portfolio. We're going to see six figures in the politician portfolio, guaranteed. Stick with me. I hope you folks learned some lessons in today's video, because I'm just going to say this, like percent gain and percent decreases on these politician stocks don't matter that much. All that matters in these markets is if the politicians continue to hold the stock, okay, and are actively adding to their positions. That's all that should matter. That's all that matters to me. All right, guys, topic number 3 of today's video. I'm actually going to be hopping in a call with Landen, the developer of Altoneer, and we're going to be talking about how we find and source the most purchased stocks by members of Congress by using the software. Let's go ahead and jump on that call and get right into it. All right, we're now on the call with Landen. We're going to be talking and showing you how we basically find the top stocks that politicians are investing into. And I want to take a second here to talk about why this is important in the first place. So it would make sense that, hey, if 5 different politicians are all purchasing the same stock within the last specific time frame, there's something there, right? Members of Congress are bullish on this stock. That's something that seems useful to me. So I actually use this sometimes to pick stocks in my portfolio. So sometimes you'd have a politician like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, like we were just talking about. She's really primarily the only politician that owns those stocks that she's investing into, like Hecla Mining and a Core Holdings. But what if there were stocks where several politicians were investing into it? Those are also important too. And most politicians aren't going to be investing into a Core Holdings. It's like a $3 billion market cap. It's a small market cap. Most people aren't going to be invested into that. So I want to show you guys how you can basically get a sentiment gauge on a stock. So Landen, what's a stock that we could just look up just to show our process of how we would even go through with this? So what stock do you think we should look up?
We could look up NVIDIA.
Okay, let's do it. All right, so Landen's just looked up NVIDIA right here. So you want to scroll down? Yeah. Let's see. So it's been 6 months since 2026 started, around 6 months. So is that the first trade that we had, that one on the bottom, or is there some trades on the second page from 2026?
Looks like we got a few here.
Okay. So from what I'm seeing already, everything has been a sale and only 3 purchases. What does that tell you? Like, Congress isn't really that bullish anymore. They're selling. So that would automatically, unless like 2 politicians that I respect greatly in terms of their performance in the past ends up buying this stock, I would not consider touching this one, because like we just saw, most, like, what is that? Like 85% of politicians are selling. 85% of the trades are all sales. That's not really very compelling to me. Let's look up a stock that we know politicians are buying. Look up CSCO. I think that this one had a lot of purchases on it recently. And by the way, you can look up any stock you want, and you can very quickly see what the sentiment is on the stock. This one is clearly very bullish. There hasn't been a single sale this year, as you can see. And it's only been buying since October of 2025. So that's like a long stretch of just buying. So like, Landen, what do you think? What do you think this means?
A lot of people buying it. I'd say it's a buy, unless some of the politicians buying it have a bad track record. But
yeah,
Ro Khanna bought SanDisk, and that exploded. So
yeah, you got Ro Khanna on there. He's really good at investing. He picked SanDisk. I think he picked that up at like $47 a share. Look at what SanDisk is trading at now. That's an incredible return. Go ahead and just click on one of these. Let's see how Cisco Systems performed. maybe zoom out a year. Yeah, that's a pretty big move there. 45% gain. All right, so now that we've showed you how we basically would look up a stock to see the sentiment on the stock amongst politicians, what if there was a way to basically see a top rankings? So you could basically see what are the most purchased stocks by politicians. I want a list. I want the top 10 or the top 20 or whatever. Landon, go ahead and show them what we've got cooking up for the lobbying data, which is going to hopefully be launched this week. It's been getting delayed for a long time, but we're getting really close now. Landon, go ahead and talk about this for a second, the rankings and just how it works. And then I'll talk about what we have planned for the politician side of this after we launch lobbying.
Yeah, so for our rankings tab that we've created here, it gives you the top 15, like based ranked on how much they've spent in according to your filters here that you put. So for example, top spenders 2026, that's since the beginning of this year, who has spent the most on lobbying. It looks like it's General Motors, United Health, and Amazon are the top three. And then you could do 2025 or whatever date you want, because we have this nifty date picker here, or you can do it by market cap if you wanted to see who's the top spenders of the mid-cap companies, like American Airlines. You can get that information pretty quickly. So most often, or at least companies that are lobbying the most, you're probably going to want to follow what they're doing, at least see what's up with those companies, maybe see what the politicians are doing.
We've been working on lobbying for a while. We think this is going to be really useful for people. And I think it's going to be really useful if we make a rankings tab for the politicians' trades. So we would basically have a top 15 list, and we might set some specific parameters on it, possibly like we need 4 unique politicians trading, and 80% of the trading on it needs to be a purchase. Or we could just set it towards like, there's probably some stocks that are like 100% purchase rate, and those would pop up at the top of the list. So we would have the most purchased stocks by politician list, and that would be coming after we launch lobbying. So that'd be part of a big UI update with the politicians. I'm getting excited about it. Alrighty, I think that's all we got for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. And Landon, any last words?
Peace.